Hey guys, welcome to Bar Z. My name's Stan, and today we got a package from Brad Jacob. He and I did a trade. I gave him some stuff and filmed a video for him for his VFD installation, and he sent me this. I've already taken all the peanuts out of it. I'd like to thank you for all the popcorn. Popcorn, peanuts, candy apples. This is a Suburban 6x6 Sine plate, and this goes to the Sine set, whatever, from Suburban. I guess this will take a vise or a mag chuck or whatever, and you just stack it on, or it'll take another mag plate or something. But we're gonna check this out before we put it into service. He told me it had some issues, but we're going to check it out and see what kind of issues it really has, or check the parallelism and check the sides, see if they're square, sine rolls for size, sine rolls for distance. First things first, we'll get these two fences off of here and get them out of the way, and then we can give it a good check. But that's the dude right there. And you can see the top's been cleaned and polished a bunch of times, so it wouldn't surprise me if it's dished or bowed or something, built into the plate, as well as being out of whack on the sine rolls and stuff. But let's get it up on the bench. Let me get the plate cleaned off and get the plate clean, and we'll set up a GoPro and start measuring. All right, so I'll bring you back for that. Okay, so here it is in all its glory. The fences are still on it. It's got fences on two sides. I've released the little locking mechanism here so I can swing the plate, and it feels tight, in a very Suburban-like fashion. This is what my plate feels like, my Suburban plate over on the surface grinder. I've got a 12-inch plate with a mag on top. So this is exactly what my other one feels like, as far as tilt. When you tilt them up, and they're really tight. They just stay wherever you put them. So it feels about the same, but let's do some measuring. I got the GoPro running up here. Let me get these fences off and out of the way so we can get in there and give them a measure. Oh, they tuck down. They're on slotted holes, so you can just pop them out of the way without even removing them. That's pretty cool, but I'm just going to get them completely out of the way for now. We can turn our attention to the fences later. All right, that's one. And that's two. Yeah, this one tucks down below the surface too. Kind of neat. And this is their Sine set. I guess you can put a mag on it, you can put a vise on it, or you can put another Sine plate on it and make a compound angle setup. So that's pretty cool. All right, I don't know whether I should take this little whirly gig off of here or not. I got it loose, so it'll tilt. Doesn't really affect anything. It stays below the surface. Let's just see what we get. Let's start at the pivot point. Pivot point is back here. Let's just grab a corner and see what we get. Ooh, taking a nosedive. Look at that. All right, so that's low over here. Let's zero up on this. See what our error is on this thing. All right, we're zeroed there. And I'm back at the pivot point, so whatever the tilt's doing doesn't have any bearing on it for this sweep. We're just sweeping a parallel with the pin. 2,000s, 3,000s, 4,000s, 5,000s. We're just barely to the center of the plate. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, so from one side to the other, wow, that thing's out of whack. Let's see what we got going on here. Let's do it on the zero side. There's our zero corner again. Let's see if she rises coming up to the other pin. 3, 4, 5, 5.5. I got something going on there with the plate, like it's springing back. So, like this roll's not laying flat against the plate. All right, well, this thing's got some pretty serious issues. Gosh, do I have something underneath this? Let's flip it over and check it the other way. For the heck of it, we'll put the plate on this way. And yes, I've cleaned it. I've deburred it. All right, there's my zero again over here. And this is upside down now, so this will be my zero, and this should be my high over here. So same thing, 3, 4, 5, about 5.5 to the midpoint. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, about 10.5 over to here. Same numbers I was getting on the other side. So that tells me I was laying down flat. So this plate's got some pretty serious issues and nowhere near putting into service. Just before I even take it apart, let's do an experiment. The sine roll, I'm going to show you guys here. The sine roll here has 3 screws. These are the screws on the lower portion of the plate, and what they're going to do with that is they're going to use this kind of as a teeter-totter. I've seen this before on sine plates, and they'll tighten the center screw, but then you work the 2 side screws to actually tilt the sine roll slightly to get a 0, 0 reading. So we're going to I'm going to try that. You know, before I even take this thing apart, I'm going to see if maybe these sine rolls or this sine roll is out of whack in that direction. All right, these are all very tight. Okay, so our sine roll is now loose to the base. I'm going to take the little adjuster thing here out of the equation. Here's my little angle stopper. Swing away, whatever. That little fella. So now we're just got a raw sine plate here, and you can see where our lower plate is loose to our upper plate. And I'm going to get out here. That's a full sweep there. And with these 3 loose, I'm going to stay here in the middle, make sure I'm laying down flat, centered up on those screws. And I'm just going to slightly snug this center. I'm going to re-zero. I got a full clock movement there. And now I'm going to, off of center, I'm going to run over here and find my high. Center. Find my, that's a little low there. Am I thinking right? Oh, I still got a full clock movement. All right, let me back that off. All right, that's off the chart. I got a good 0 there. All right, let's start that over again. Just snug in the center one. Sweep left. A little low. 2/10 low. Sweep right. Right on 0. So that's a drastic improvement right there. Someone just inadvertently tightened these screws up and didn't really pay attention to anything. I'm just going to give this a little tweak here. Just give me a 1/10 below. Still on 0 there. 1/10 below. I'm going to keep working two sides against the middle. I'm going to go 2/10 below there. Middle still at 0. 1/10 below. Tighten up a little bit here. All right, that's 2/10 below. Still on 0. 1/10 below. Just going to keep tightening these up until I get them snug enough. I think if this works, we're going to we'll probably take it apart and do this all over again, put them together with some Loctite. Basically, what this is doing, this is seating that that sine roll in that V groove. 2/10 below. 1/10 below, 2/10 below. I'm going to keep working it because I'm nowhere near tight. Okay, that's 3/10 below, 1/10, 2/10. Get back to my 3, right there. Solid 1/10. About 2.5. Tighten that up a little bit. Just going to keep working back and forth until I get as parallel as I possibly can. There's my neighborhood biker. See, now I'm 2/10 below in the center, so that sine roll is seating up in that V groove, which is good. I'm going to tighten my center up a little bit here, because when you tighten the two outside ones, it makes that center one looser. Go ahead and take that one all the way down. I am now 3/10 below. 5, 6, 7/10. Ooh, yeah, that tilted a lot. Might have to start over. Let's see what we can do here. Six. Four. 5. 6. Ooh, that was a little gronky there. 7/10. 5/10. 6/10. This is exactly what we wanted. We just want to keep taking her down. Looking for a 10th there. That sucker feels like it's seated. So 6/10, half a thou, 7/10. So that's not terrible. Let me re-zero there so we can see what it is all the way across. Two-tenths on the high side. Yeah, we're still a little high over here. Okay, and some of this could be plate wear. Might be the edges of the plate. Typically a plate like this will get rounded off in the corners. So it's very possible we've got a little bit of plate wear. Let me measure a little farther in. I'm going to measure across the bolt center line now. See what we get. Okay, so we're still pretty high over here. I don't want to tighten this one up anymore, but we definitely need to bring this down. Add a little bit more there. Just want to get everything cinched down where it's all nice and even. Wow, that brought it down a lot. Holy moly. I might have to start over. We're climbing over here. Okay, I'm calling it our bolt center on 0. Okay, 6/10 high. This one was still very, very loose. Tighten that up. Getting better. All right, we got a good 0 there. Run it back over here, see if we get re-zero over here. You're playing teeter-totter here, so you have to work 2 sides against the middle. Okay, still a little high over here. As I pull this side down, it pulls the other side up. It's a full-on teeter-totter action. And like I said, I'll probably end up doing this over again with probably some blue Loctite on these screws. That's the removable Loctite. That way you get them down, get the plate where you want it. It's a pretty dramatic drop there at the end. From here to the first screw, that's your first 2/10. And it pretty much stays all the way across. Three tenths, 2/10. All the way up to right about here, and from here to the edge, that's where it takes a nosedive. Hard. So that tells me that plate's probably slightly worn there, so this wouldn't be my actual sine roll, it would be the actual condition of the flat surface here. All right, so I'm pretty happy with that. It's only a few tenths off. Let's flip it and check the other side and see if we get, off of the working surface. We had it upside down just so we could get to those screws. Here, let's check it here. And we'll just sweep it all the way across the back. Okay, so all the way across the back, 3/10, side to side. Not terrible. It could use a regrind, but there's other things we need to check. We haven't even taken it apart yet to see what's going on. We'll have to do all this over again. Now we tilt this direction. So now let's check it in this way to make sure we're doing pretty much a sine bar check, and just sweep it and see how flat it is in this direction. We've done the hinge side, and we're down flat. Let me make sure we're clean. That roll is clean. Plate feels good. I don't see any nicks, burrs, or anything sticking up, rust, grime, anything. Okay, so let's give this a little sweep. 0 in the corner, and sweep out this direction. We're on the climb. Okay, out to this corner. Oh wow, look at that. So it's about 6/10 with me pushing down on it, but when I release, it pops up to about 1.5 thou. That's pretty interesting. It'll be interesting to see if it does it on this other side too. Okay, from the hinge side out to the front. There's our 3/10 side to side that we had. I'm not going to push down on the plate this time. Let's just run it out and see what we get. Same thing on the climb. All things being equal, without any pressure down on it, we should see about 1.5 thou. We're out to the front, and we're at 1.4. So yeah, that's almost 1.5 thou. Let's see what we get when we push down. Same result. 6/10 push down. So it's equal by equal. You know, that whatever our error is or whatever is causing it to pick up like that is equal on both sides. So that tells me the plate's tipping correctly, which is good. I need to figure out a way to pin it down. I need to put my little strap back on it to hold it down and get it down tight so it'll stay down before I even think about doing any grinding. I think it just needs a light regrind. I could bring it all in. Okay, so the initial is analyzed here. We've looked it over really good. We had to do a little bit of adjustment back here on these 3 screws. There's obviously a teeter-totter thing going on there. And I've seen that before on other brands of Sine plates. So let's take it apart, check the Sine rolls. We're going to measure the Sine rolls, make sure there's not a piece of rust or junk or something in between one of these rolls. Get it all oiled up on the hinge surface, because the way it's snapping back here is it's actually kind of bugging me, the way it's doing that right there. And it's very equal on both sides what it's doing, but you can actually hear it, the roll making contact with the plate. All right, let's get it apart and we'll get another look at it. Okay, well, we got our 2 Sine rolls here, and this is the hinge pin side. And you can see we've got threaded holes here. I'm going to show this camera. We've got threaded holes here that go on the upper plate, and then we've got these 3 threaded holes, excuse me, that go on the lower plate, and they're opposing, you know. So this bolts down to the lower plate, and then the top plate bolts to this, and this is what creates the hinge. And these are just precision ground, steel on steel, and they should be all of the same diameter all the way through. So we're just going to measure them really quick. I'm going to go ahead and measure this assembled, and we'll zero up on this. I've already kind of pre-done it, so I don't have to fiddle with the camera. So that one's, you got a good 0 there. A good 0 there. So we're pretty happy there with those rolls. Okay, so we're going to call that a baseline. Then we're going to come over and check this guy, and we're just going to roll it in and find our highest number again. So that's a 10th high. Center portion's a little low by a 10th. Not the end of the world, I don't think. Okay, pretty darn close there. These still need to be cleaned up and checked again. Okay, so these are all within a 10th of this being the same diameter between this roll and this roll, but there's a lot of, I'll show the camera here, some corrosion and stuff, and they need to be polished. And I know when I polish them, I'm going to remove a slight amount of material, but I'm going to chuck them up in the lathe and polish them with a little bit of, actually 800, and just get a nice polish on those. And then we need to check them, make sure this one needs to be very round. This one has to run the gauge block stack. This is the one that goes up and down. This one is, you couldn't really call it fixed, but it's actually bolted to something. So, you know, we don't have to rest gauge blocks on this. This is just kind of the hinge, but the diameter is still very important. So, I mean, I kind of expected to see this kind of corrosion in there. And I've seen it before. Corrosion gets in between 2 steel surfaces and creates rust, and the part will actually lift slightly as it scales up. You know, that corrosion has an awful lot of force when it starts happening in there. Mother Nature always finds a way. So let me get these polished up. We'll do another check and check diameters on them and stuff, and then we'll start looking at these grooves in these two plates here. I've got some 800 grit, 3M paper, wet and dry, and I'm just going to give it a slight polish on this just to remove any high spots. That's it. I don't want to do any more. Yeah, we look pretty good actually. Took all the high spots off, all that corrosion and stuff. Okay, I think I'm pretty happy there. Pop this guy out. Now we're going to bring in, that was our hinge roll. This is our actual measuring roll. This is the one we're going to put gauge blocks and stuff on. There's still a little bit of corrosion there too. And same thing here. That one turned out really nice. Okay. All right, so we got everything cleaned up. We got the base plate clean, and I ran it over the lapping plate again, and I actually got in here with 800 and just slightly cleaned this groove. And same thing with the top. This is the top plate, and the way these orient here, this just flips just right over on this. And then we've got our rolls done. And I've already checked these. I've mic'd them, you know, clocked them 90 degrees apart, made sure that they're the same size and everything. And the rolls turned out very nice. It's got a nice polish on it. This is the tilting roll, so this one, you never know where this one's going to contact a gauge block. It could contact, you know, pretty much, you know, anywhere. So you need to make sure these are very, very smooth, no burrs, no nicks, no corrosion. So those are in real good shape. And then the hinge, pretty much more of the same. You know, I mic'd it in several places. In our one little spot right here, where you can see where it like pulled the threads up and lifted a little area around that screw, that actually falls down into a V groove, and that's a non-issue. I've already checked that in the V groove of the plate. So that little area that I was kind of fussing over on the lathe isn't really an issue. And I put a drop of spindle oil in there. It's a very tight fit, and 10 weight oil just barely got in there. So initially, and we've cleaned these with acetone. All the holes are cleaned out with the swab with acetone to get all our threads cleaned. We are going to use Locktite blue. That's a removable thread locker. That's number 242. Speaking of the base plate, let's go ahead and check everything out as long as we're here before we start assembling anything. This is your measuring surface. This is where you stack your gauge blocks, where you tilt, and we want to check for parallelism here. So depending on where you put your gauge blocks around here, you know, you could put them anywhere along that sine roll. That roll's about, I don't know, about 3 inches wide. So you know, you want to make sure this is very parallel with the base, so you've got a good, you know, base and reference point for everything. Let's get us down here and zero up on this. Tenth high over there. It's not bad. That's pretty good, actually. It's within 1/10 of parallel. So that's pretty good. Okay, that's all. The only checks we're going to do with this. I did want to demonstrate something, and this is kind of what we're, oops, didn't mean to bump you there. I was going to demonstrate what this groove does and the way it's ground and the way this sits in there and how you adjust the plate. If you remember earlier in the video, I showed you tightening and loosening the plate, and we were actually tilting it on a teeter-totter. Now this thing is, that's a clean groove. I've cleaned the groove, I've cleaned the rod, but watch this. That's intentional. That's supposed to be there, and the way you tighten these 3 bolts and what order you tighten these is going to take this sine roll and tilt it this way or this way. Now let me show it to this camera. You can probably see it moving. I know you can hear it. Okay, so I wanted to demonstrate that before we do that other work on the other bolting this into here. Okay, let me slide you guys back up. And let's get this Loctited into this section here. Okay, well, we got our sine rolls cleaned and ready to install our plate, and we're going to go ahead and install it on this upper. And I got my screws cleaned, and my V grooves are clean here, and we're ready to set it on. And I may have to stick my fat head in front of the camera to line up these bolts, but and again, we're using 242 removable Loctite blue, and literally 1 drop on the tip of the threads. That's all we're doing. And I'm not going to, gronk down on these at all. We're just, just tight enough to keep them from moving, and that's it. We don't want it, I don't want to influence the plate in any way, and if you really crush down on it, you'll do a bunch of, you'll distort the plate and things like that, so we don't want to really do that. So I'm just doing just a little bit of tightening there. I'm just going to get this thing lined up there. Okay, good. And there. Good. Get this guy lined up. Swear to God, you spill more Loctite than you get on the bolts sometimes. Okay, so they're all in and they're all just snug. Now I'm just going to apply thumb and forefinger about halfway on the wrench on everything. Like I say, not monster tight at all, just barely snug. Then we can measure our sine rolls again, see if we've got still got that half inch or half inch. So if we still got that half thou of difference between the 2 sine rolls. Be interesting to see. All right, let me get this Loctite out of here. Get my Loctite saturated rags out of here. And we'll get this clean with a lint free. And flip. And it feels pretty good. Alright, now we can check our sine rolls for height again now that everything's tightened down into the V-grooves. And we can see where we're at with the thing. Oh, see if this thing's still standing a half thou proud. That'll be interesting. Okay, we're 0. It's about 3/10 proud. 1/10 proud. Let's get you on 0 there again. Get this measurement quantified and off to a good start. All right, we're good there. All right, 2/10 high over on this side. Let's see what that equates to here. So this by all rights, this should be a half thou low from our initial measurements. Nope. 2/10 low. 2/10 low. 2/10 low. This one's sitting in there nice and flat. This one not so much. But you know, we're still adjustable. Remember, our lower plate is can be tipped. But let's see if we can turn this thing. There it is. Wow, that's tight. Okay. Okay. Let's see where we are over here. Same thing, 2/10. So we're a little high over here. I'm going to try to take this down just a skosh. Just give it a little more tightening. Maybe it'll pull it down into that seat. Which it did. Yeah, so we're 2/10 low. There's 0 there. Right on 0. Then 1/10. Then 1/10. Then 2/10. Pretty good. All right, I'm pretty happy with that, the way those rolls are seated down in there. Next up, we're going to put this back on the base and do the tilt-a-whirl measurement thing that we did before. And we need to make sure that these bolts line up before we go put any Loctite on it. I think we do. Let's make sure those all 3 drop in there. Okay. Those are all set to line up. So somebody's ground these to keep them below the surface. They're just barely there. And before we start Loctiting stuff, let's get us up here in the middle and already ready to measure. That's pretty good. Look at that. That's with no bolts in it. It drops off a little bit here. Yeah, as soon as you start tightening or loosening, see what you're able to influence in it any way you want. All right, let me get a fresh towel here. We'll break out the blue goo. And start the rest of this stunt. You guys have already seen me do this once, but now I'm going to do it with some Loctite. And if I don't get it right the first time, it's not the end of the world, because I can always get this stuff out. And blue gives you a little bit of time to work with it too. It doesn't dry quite as fast as the red, or God forbid the green. The green sets up pretty darn quick. All right, I'm just going to snug this center. See my gauge dropping about 1/10, and I'm going to go ahead and zero up there. Get my towel out of here. And I'm going to start sweeping side to side and see what we got. I'm going to find my lowest one, which I think that's probably it there. I'm probably going to go high over on this side. Start snugging that up a little bit. 1/10 below. Re-zero on the middle. I'm always going to pick my highest one and tighten there. Two tenths, zero, same 2/10, zero. Pretty happy. All right, that spring back like I was getting earlier. The hinge is so tight. See, I'm still getting, it's not as much as it was when it was when we first got it. It was about 1 thou before, but I'm still getting about a 2/10 lift there. Yep. 2/10 lift there. It was a lot before, and I think that's just the residual friction in the in that hinge, also known as stiction. When I come all the way down and touch, it's really not touching. As soon as I release, it just lifts ever so slightly, and it's just the friction in that hinge pin doing it to me, because it repeats like that every single time. And I'm trying to think how else I could check contact on my block here. I think if I rub a little Prussian blue on there, or maybe some Prussian blue across this roll, set it down, I should get a nice line across across here to make sure my roll is actually making contact. So let me find that. Add a whole tube. Okay, a little bit of Prussian blue, a little dab will do ya. It's not going to take that much. And we're just going to wipe that sine roll all the way across with a little layer of it. And what we should get on that, on the measuring plate, is just one line all the way across. Let's see how that goes. Okay. And there's your line. Hopefully you can see that. It's right there. And you can actually see the clean line where it transferred right there. And we can do it a couple times. I pushed down pretty hard, and I might have distorted the plate. So let me clean this off and reapply this, just kind of smear it around. I'm going to try to touch down lightly this time and without distorting the plate. Just till I hear it click. And then check my line again. And it's still pretty good all the way across. I'll show both cameras. One of the two of them will pick it up. Double my odds of video success. Alright, so I'm pretty happy that that thing's parallel enough where it comes down and is making good contact all the way across. Gotta get this blue goo off of here. I just need to find a way to keep that plate down tight for my grind. I'm going to try it with the little piece that comes with it, the little hook piece, the hold down. And we'll go from there. All right, but I think we got her worried. All right. Okay, so we're done with putting it all together, and we've to stop that spring back, I went ahead and put the little swing clamp thing on there, and you know, before I tighten it, I just pushed down with my hand and just tightened them up, just to take that spring back we were getting off of there. So that's probably going to be the norm every time you use it, which is interesting. My other plate doesn't have that. And we're going to start on the hinge side. This is the hinge side here. We're going to start on the hinge side back here and get a good 0. And I'm just going to sweep the back. So there we're within 2/10 side to side. Not terrible. And I'm going to come back up here. There's our 2/10 again. I'm going to sweep out to the front. This is our measuring roll here. And we got a good 0 out on that corner. And now we're just going to sweep across the front, measuring roll here. And we got a good 0 out at that corner. And now we're going to head back to where we started from. So we got it within a couple tenths. So that's a drastic improvement from where we started. So there's our starting point, back to 0. Oh, one thing I did want to show you, with that clamp, get back out here, measuring roll, hinge here, with that clamp in there, we don't have the spring back anymore. See me I'm pushing down on the plate here, and I'm not getting that, whatever we were getting before, 3 or 4 tenths of spring back. So with that clamp on there, that makes that go away. So pretty cool. With it secure like this, I'm pretty comfortable grinding it, you know. I don't want to, let me slide you guys up here and I'll explain what I'm going to do. This was all just assembly, what I did here, just a little bit of cleaning and assembly and just very careful assembly and measuring as I go. Nothing has been ground. You can see that top, that's, I'll show both cameras. You still see the stains and everything, and the bottom still hasn't been ground. You can still see all the staining there. Just with some careful assembly and measuring, we've got it pretty darn close. Now that it's assembled and clamped down and we know it's tight, now we can do a cleanup grind, and we know we only need to take out a couple of tenths. You know, we're not taking a gob of material out. We're just going to dust this thing. So this is the end of part 1 of me just disassembling this, and you know, putting it back together and just kind of being careful as I go, and getting it back as close as I can possibly get it without any grinding. Next up, we're going to grind top, bottom, and square the sides, and there's some special requirements for that too that I've been kind of thinking about. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be part 2. But I appreciate you guys tuning in to part 1 of me taking this thing apart and putting it back together the way I think it should be put together. All right, guys. Thanks for watching.